Hi, welcome to the second part of the video. I felt I needed part two because I kind of left it blank as to what to do next after you take the cuttings. So this is what I do. These are fairly large cuttings, so I'm going to use a 16-ounce plastic cup, just like a solo cup like you would find for picnics or parties or whatever. And I take a soldering iron and I just poke little holes in it to make air holes, including the bottom. After that, I preload the bottom of it so it's nice and flat on the bottom, because what I do is I bottom water. So it'll be sitting down in a tray like this, and I'll pour the water down in here and it'll just kind of wick up the side. But I just make sure that it's nice and flat so that the water that I do put in here is evenly distributed and it actually gets to what I'm about to put down in here. So let's get to this. This cutting right here, it's got a nice root system on it. I just take this, which is a sphagnum moss perlite mix. I have a ton of this on hand because I use it constantly. It's relatively cheap. I'm not going to say it's really cheap. Sphagnum moss is kind of expensive right now. Perlite's relatively cheap. This is what works for me. This is just for me and my own personal experience. This is my go-to and my fail-safe is sphagnum moss with perlite. So what I do with something like this is I kind of ball up the roots just a little bit, not too tight. And I get probably make my hand flat with sphagnum moss. Put it in here like this and wrap my hand around it. And then I kind of add as I go. And make it just a little bit bigger each time. And adding stuff and adding. My hands are a little large, so I don't know if people that have smaller hands aren't going to be able to do this as easily as I do right now. We might have to improvise or find some other method. But you get it to around what's going to be the remainder of this cup. Once I get this big ball, I just cram it down in there. Don't be afraid to push on it. One of the roots just stuck straight up out of the moss, out of the sphagnum moss. So I'm just going to tuck it back down and push it with more moss. And that's it. It doesn't have to be hard packed. It doesn't have to be super jam packed down there. This just is packed down in there because I was pushing that root back down. But this method right here, you don't want this to be super wet. You want to wring it out with your hands to the point where almost all of the water is out of it. And then you throw perlite in there. The perlite will soak up the majority of the water out of that. I'm sorry, that's my puppy on her chew toy. The perlite will soak up a lot of the water. Add some more water as needed. Wring it out. Make sure it is not soggy, saturated sphagnum moss, or it will rot. It will rot the roots. So once you have that, this method will produce. It for me, it will produce for you, I'm sure of it, if you just follow this method. And that's what I'm going to do with the rest of these cuttings here. So I'm just going to roll right through. Just ball it up a little bit. Get some in your hand. Lay it in your hand. Hold it with your index and your thumb. Kind of give it some support and just ball it up around it. Keep adding more. Keep adding more. There it is. That's what I do. Few weeks, maybe less, the roots will come and start filling in the sides. You'll see them. This is exactly why I use clear plastic. The roots, you'll start to see them pressing up against the plastic, and you'll be like, oh, look, it's actually working. And it is very satisfying to see that. So good luck to you with this. I hope this method works for you, and thanks for hanging out.